Marcus Chen wiped sweat from his forehead as he stared at the scanner readings. His small salvage ship, the Rust Bucket, had picked up a distress signal from deep space. The signal was weak, but it was there. And where there were distress signals, there was usually money to be made. "Computer, what kind of ship is sending that signal?" Marcus asked. The ship's old computer buzzed and clicked. "Scanning. Signal matches Azarathi Empire vessel, luxury class. No life signs detected." Marcus raised an eyebrow. The Zarathi were rich aliens who thought humans were barely better than animals. Their ships were worth a fortune in salvage. If this one was really dead, he could retire early. "Set course for the signal," he ordered. 2 hours later, Marcus found the source. The Zarathi ship was huge, maybe 10 times the size of his little salvage vessel. It was dark, except for a few blinking emergency lights. The beautiful silver hull was cracked in several places. Something had gone very wrong here. Marcus put on his spacesuit and grabbed his tools. He had salvaged dozens of ships over the years. This was just another job. He attached his ship to the Zarathi vessel and cut through the airlock. Inside, the ship was a mess. Broken glass covered the floor. Smoke hung in the air. Emergency lights flashed red warnings in alien writing. Marcus could not read Zarathi, but he knew danger when he saw it. He walked through the hallways looking for valuable items to take. The ship was fancy, with gold decorations and crystal windows. Everything looked expensive, but as he moved deeper into the ship, Marcus heard something that made him stop. It was a voice, a weak female voice calling for help. Marcus followed the sound through twisting corridors. The voice was coming from what looked like a medical room. The door was bent and would not open properly. Marcus could see inside through a gap. There was someone trapped inside. "Hello," Marcus called out. "Can you hear me?" "Please," the voice answered. "Help me." Marcus used his tools to force the door open. Inside, he found something he had not expected. A young woman lay on a medical bed, but she was not human. Her skin was pale blue, and she had silver markings on her face. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, and they glowed softly in the dark. She was Zarathi, and from the expensive clothes and jewelry she wore, she was important. "Who are you?" Marcus asked. "I am Princess Zarathel," she whispered, "daughter of Queen Veltara. Please, I am dying." Marcus looked around the medical room. Dead Zarathi guards lay on the floor. Medical machines were broken and sparking. The princess was connected to some kind of life support machine, but it was failing. "What happened here?" Marcus asked. "Poison," the princess said. Her breathing was weak. "Someone put poison in the air system. The antidote machine is broken. I have maybe 1 hour left." Marcus looked at the broken medical equipment. It was all alien technology, far more advanced than anything humans had, but it was also completely dead. The princess was right. She would die soon without help. "I do not know how to fix your machines," Marcus said. "Then I will die here," the princess whispered, "just like my guards." Marcus stared at her for a moment. He was not a doctor. He was just a salvage worker who fixed broken ships. But he had learned a few things about staying alive in dangerous places, and he had a basic medical kit on his ship. "What kind of poison?" he asked. The doctor said, "Neurological toxin. It attacks the brain and nervous system. Only Zarathi medical technology can cure it." Marcus thought about this. He did not know anything about Zarathi medicine, but he knew something about poisons. During his years in space, he had been poisoned by bad air, toxic plants, and even alien bugs. Human medicine was not as fancy as alien medicine, but it was designed to keep people alive in bad situations. "I might have something that can help," Marcus said, "but it will not be pleasant." The princess looked at him with surprise. "You think you can cure Zarathi poison with human medicine?" "Maybe. I cannot promise anything, but if you stay here, you will definitely die." The princess closed her eyes. "Do it." Marcus ran back to his ship and grabbed his emergency medical kit. It was basic human equipment, nothing fancy. He also grabbed a bottle of industrial cleaning alcohol and some stimulant pills he used to stay awake during long flights. Back in the medical room, Marcus looked at the princess. She was getting worse. Her blue skin was turning gray, and she was having trouble breathing. Marcus had treated poison before, but never alien poison. He would have to guess and hope. He mixed the alcohol with some antibiotics from his kit. Then he crushed up the stimulant pills and added them to the mixture. "This will hurt," he warned the princess. "I'm already dying," she replied. Marcus gave her the mixture through an injection. The princess screamed and her body went rigid. For a moment, Marcus thought he had killed her. Then her breathing got stronger. "How do you feel?" Marcus asked. "Strange," the princess said. "The pain is less, but I feel different." Marcus checked her pulse. It was getting stronger. The gray color was leaving her skin. His crazy mixture was actually working. But then alarms started going off throughout the ship. The computer voice was speaking in Zarathi, but Marcus could tell it was not good news. "What is it saying?" Marcus asked. The princess listened and then looked scared. "The reactor is overloading. The ship will explode in 10 minutes. Marcus did not hesitate. He picked up the princess and carried her toward his ship. She was weak, but alive. They had to get out of there fast. As they reached his ship, Marcus could feel the Zarathi vessel shaking apart. He threw the princess into a safety chair and started the engines. His small ship pulled away from the dying luxury vessel just as it exploded in a ball of white fire. Marcus and the princess watched the explosion through the window. The beautiful Zarathi ship was gone, along with all its treasures. But the princess was alive. "You saved my life," she said quietly. "Just doing what anyone would do," Marcus replied. But as he set course for the nearest space station, Marcus had no idea that saving one alien princess would change his entire life. He had just become part of something much bigger than a simple salvage run. Princess Zarathel woke up in a small, cramped room that smelled like machine oil and old coffee. For a moment, she could not remember where she was. Then the memories came back. The poison, the explosion, the human who had saved her life. She sat up slowly, still feeling weak from the poison and the strange human medicine. The room was tiny compared to her palace chambers, with metal walls and no decorations. This had to be the human's ship. "You are awake," a voice said. Marcus Chen stood in the doorway, holding a cup of something hot. "How do you feel?" "Better," Zarathel said. She was surprised this was true. "Your medicine worked. I should be dead." Marcus shrugged. "Lucky guess. I brought you some soup. It is not fancy, but it will help you get stronger." The princess took the cup. The soup tasted strange, but it was warm and made her feel better. She studied the human who had saved her. He was not very tall, with dark hair and kind eyes. His clothes were old and practical, nothing like the fine robes worn by Zarathi nobles. "I must ask you something important," Zarathel said. "Do you understand what you have done?" "I helped someone who was dying," Marcus said. "Is that wrong?" "No, but in my culture, when someone saves another's life through great skill or bravery, it creates a life debt. This debt can only be resolved by the royal court." Marcus looked confused. "What does that mean?" "It means you must come to my home world. My mother, Queen Veltara, must formally recognize what you have done. Until then, I am bound to you by honor." "Bound to me?" Marcus said. "I do not want anyone bound to me. I just wanted to help." Zarathel smiled sadly. "Humans do not understand our ways. In Zarathi culture, honor is everything. You achieved something impossible. You cured a poison that killed trained doctors and guards. You used primitive medicine to do what our advanced technology could not do. This makes you special." Marcus sat down heavily. "I am not special. I am just a salvage worker who got lucky." "That is what makes this so important," the princess said. "Humans always say they are not special, but you do impossible things like they are normal. This worries many of my people." Over the next few days, as they traveled to the nearest space station, Zarathel told Marcus about Zarathi society. Her people had ruled a vast empire for thousands of years. They had advanced technology, powerful weapons, and strict laws about honor and duty. "We believe in order," she explained. "Everyone has their place. Nobles rule, workers work, soldiers fight. It has always been this way." "What about freedom?" Marcus asked. "What if someone wants to change their place?" "That would bring chaos," Zarathel said. "Order creates peace." Marcus thought about this. Human society was very different. Humans could change jobs, move to different planets, even start their own businesses. It was messy sometimes, but it was free. When they reached the space station, news of the rescue had already spread. Human news reporters wanted to interview Marcus. Zarathi diplomats wanted to speak with the princess. Everyone was very excited about the story. "Human saves Zarathi princess with basic medicine," the headlines read. "Impossible rescue shocks alien empire." Marcus did not like all the attention. He just wanted to go back to his salvage work. But Zarathel explained that was no longer possible. "The life debt must be resolved," she said. "My mother will summon you to court. She has no choice." 3 days later, a message arrived on a crystal tablet that glowed with alien writing. Zarathel translated it for Marcus. "Queen Veltara, ruler of the Zarathi Empire, commands the presence of Marcus Chen at the Imperial Palace. You are to be honored for your deed in saving the royal princess." "That does not sound so bad," Marcus said, but Zarathel looked worried. "I know my mother. She is very intelligent and very careful. She does nothing without planning every detail. If she wants to meet you personally, she has bigger plans than just giving you a medal." Marcus received another message, this one from the human government. The Terran Federation was excited about the rescue. They offered to send a diplomatic ship to escort Marcus to the Zarathi capital. "This could improve relations between our species," the message said. "You are now an ambassador as well as a hero." Marcus felt trapped between two alien worlds. He had never wanted to be a hero or an ambassador. He just wanted to fix broken ships and mind his own business. As they prepared to leave for the Zarathi homeworld, Zarathel warned Marcus about the royal court. "My people respect strength and intelligence," she said, "but they also fear change. Humans represent change. Your people grow and spread quickly. You adapt to new situations. This makes many Zarathi nervous." "Do they hate us?" Marcus asked. "No, but they do not understand you. When my people see a problem, we study it carefully and create a perfect solution. When humans see a problem, you try many different things until something works. Both ways can succeed, but they are very different." Marcus learned that Queen Veltara had been watching human expansion for years. She was known as a wise but ruthless ruler who always thought several steps ahead of her enemies. "My mother has ruled for over 200 years, Zarathel said. "She has seen empires rise and fall. She survived 3 wars and countless political challenges. She will not see you as just a simple salvage worker." "What will she see me as?" Marcus asked. "A puzzle to solve, a potential threat or ally, something to be studied and understood." As their ship approached the beautiful blue world of the Zarathi capital, Marcus felt nervous. The planet looked peaceful, with white clouds and silver cities that sparkled in the sunlight, but he knew that looks could be deceiving. "Whatever happens," Zarathel said, "remember that you saved my life. That means something, even in a world of politics and power games." Marcus nodded, but he could not shake the feeling that he was walking into a trap. The simple rescue that had seemed like the right thing to do was becoming something much more complicated. The princess had taught him about Zarathi culture, but Marcus still did not understand how saving one person could become so important. He was about to learn that in the galaxy of politics and power, even good deeds could have dangerous consequences. As their ship entered the atmosphere, Marcus saw the Imperial Palace rising from the center of the capital city. It was massive, with towers that reached toward the sky and gardens that covered entire city blocks. Somewhere in that palace, a queen was waiting to meet the human who had achieved the impossible. Marcus Chen, simple salvage worker, was about to discover that sometimes being a hero was more dangerous than being nobody at all. The Zarathi Imperial Palace was the most beautiful building Marcus had ever seen. Made of white stone and silver metal, it seemed to glow in the alien sunlight. Gardens with strange purple trees surrounded it, and waterfalls fell from towers high above. Everything looked perfect and planned. Just like Zarathi society, Marcus felt very small as he walked through the massive doors. His simple work clothes looked shabby compared to the fancy robes worn by Zarathi nobles. These aliens were tall and elegant, with pale blue skin and silver markings. They watched Marcus with curious eyes as he passed. Princess Zarathel walked beside him, wearing a beautiful white dress with jewels that sparkled like stars. "Do not let them intimidate you," she whispered. "Remember, you saved my life when they could not." 2 royal guards led them through long hallways filled with paintings and statues. Marcus had never seen such wealth and beauty in one place. Every surface was decorated with precious metals and gems. The Zarathi Empire was obviously very rich and powerful. Finally, they reached the throne room. It was huge, with a ceiling so high Marcus could barely see the top. Hundreds of Zarathi nobles filled the room, all dressed in their finest clothes. At the far end, on a throne made of crystal and gold, sat Queen Veltara. Marcus had expected an old woman, but the queen looked young and strong. Her silver hair was arranged in an elaborate style, and her blue skin seemed to glow with inner light. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent, missing nothing as they studied Marcus from across the room. "Approach the throne," a voice commanded. Marcus walked forward, feeling like every eye in the room was watching him. The nobles whispered to each other in their musical language. Some looked curious, others seemed annoyed or worried. When Marcus reached the throne, he was not sure what to do. Should he bow? Kneel? In human society, people shook hands or nodded, but this was not human society. Princess Zarathel knelt beside him, so Marcus did the same. "Rise," Queen Veltara said in perfect English. Her voice was strong and clear. "Marcus Chen of Earth, you stand before the Zarathi Imperial Court to answer for your actions." Marcus stood up, confused. "Answer for my actions? I thought I was here to be honored." A ripple of surprise went through the watching nobles. Apparently, questioning the queen was not normal. Queen Veltara smiled, but it was not a warm smile. "You will be honored, human, but first, we must understand what you have done. Tell the court how you cured my daughter when our best doctors could not." Marcus looked around the room. Everyone was listening carefully. "I used basic human medicine, antitoxins, stimulants, and alcohol. It was just a guess that worked." "Just a guess," the queen repeated. "You mean you had no plan, no careful study of the poison, no advanced equipment?" "No," Marcus said. "I had to act fast or the princess would die. I used what I had." The queen stood up from her throne. "Lords and ladies of the court, you have heard the human speak. He achieved what our greatest minds could not, using primitive tools and guesswork. What does this tell us about the human species?" An old noble with many medals on his robe spoke up. "It tells us they are dangerous, Your Majesty, unpredictable. They act without thinking." Or, said a younger noble, "It tells us they are resourceful, able to find solutions we cannot see." Queen Veltara nodded. "Both views have merit. The human species expands rapidly through the galaxy. They adapt to new worlds quickly. They solve problems in ways we do not expect. This makes them either valuable allies or dangerous enemies." Marcus was starting to feel uncomfortable. This did not sound like a medal ceremony. "Your Majesty, I just wanted to help your daughter. I do not represent all humans." "But you do," the queen said. "Whether you know it or not, you represent human potential, and that potential must be guided properly." The queen walked down from her throne and stood directly in front of Marcus. Up close, she was taller than him, and her presence was intimidating. "Marcus Chen," she said formally, "by the ancient laws of the Zarathi Empire, I invoke the claiming of exceptional bloodlines. You have proven your worth through impossible achievement. Therefore, I claim you as consort to the royal house and personal advisor to the throne." The throne room erupted in noise. Some nobles cheered, others looked shocked. Marcus felt like he had been hit with a hammer. "What does that mean?" he asked. Princess Zarathel looked horrified. "Mother, you cannot. The claiming law has not been used for 500 years. The law still exists," Queen Veltara said calmly, "and it applies perfectly to this situation. Marcus Chen will remain here as my consort. His children will carry royal blood. His knowledge and skills will serve the empire." Marcus finally understood what was happening. "You want to keep me here, like a prisoner?" "Not a prisoner," the queen said. "You will have great honor, wealth, and power. You will be one of the most important people in the galaxy. But yes, you will remain here. And if I refuse," the queen's smile became cold. "The claiming is not a request. It is law. You entered Zarathi space voluntarily. You accepted our hospitality. By saving my daughter, you became part of our family. Family does not leave." Marcus felt trapped. Around him, the nobles were arguing loudly. Some supported the queen's decision, calling it wise and traditional. Others called it outdated and dangerous. "This will anger the humans," one noble warned. "They value individual freedom above all things." "The humans are too weak to challenge us," another replied. "One ship against our fleet? They will accept this." Princess Zarathel stepped forward. "Mother, this is wrong. Marcus saved me freely without expecting reward. To trap him here dishonors his gift." "Silence," the queen commanded. You are alive because of my decision to claim him. His knowledge, his human way of thinking, will serve us well. We can learn from him while keeping his dangerous unpredictability under control." Marcus realized the truth. The Queen was not honoring him. She was studying him, like a scientist keeping an interesting animal in a cage. She wanted to understand how humans thought and solved problems, but she was afraid to let that knowledge spread freely. "What about my ship? My life?" Marcus asked. "Your old life is over," Queen Velterra said. "Your new life begins now. You will have teachers to help you understand our culture, servants to care for your needs. Everything you could want, except the freedom to leave." Marcus looked around the throne room. Beautiful, wealthy, powerful, and completely alien. These people saw him as a valuable object, not a person. They wanted to use his human creativity while keeping it safely locked away. "I need time to think," Marcus said. "You have until tomorrow morning," the Queen replied. "Then the claiming ceremony will be completed, and you will become officially part of the royal house." As guards led Marcus away to a luxurious prison, he could hear the nobles still arguing. Some were excited about having a pet human to study. Others worried about the reaction from Earth. Princess Zarathel caught up with him in the hallway. "I am so sorry," she whispered. "I never expected this." "Is there any way out?" Marcus asked. The princess looked around carefully, then leaned close. "Maybe. There are old laws, older than the claiming law, but it would be very dangerous." Marcus thought about his simple life as a salvage worker. It seemed very far away now. "Tell me about these old laws." Later, Zarathel said as guards approached. "But remember, my mother is very smart, but she thinks like a Zarathi. She plans for Zarathi responses, not human ones." As Marcus was locked in a room filled with luxury, he realized the princess was right. Queen Velterra expected him to accept his fate like a good Zarathi subject. She had no idea how stubborn humans could be when their freedom was threatened. The Queen thought she had won. She had no idea the fight was just beginning. News of Queen Velterra's claiming reached Earth 3 days later. The reaction was immediate and angry. Every news station showed the same story. Human hero enslaved by alien queen. The Terran Federation called an emergency meeting. Protests filled the streets of major cities. Humans everywhere were furious that one of their own had been trapped by alien law. Marcus watched the news reports from his luxurious prison room. The Queen had given him access to human broadcasts, probably to show him how powerless his people were to help him. But Marcus could see something the Queen missed. Humans were not just angry. They were united in a way they rarely were about anything. "Interesting viewing?" Princess Zarathel asked as she entered his room. She had been visiting him daily, bringing food and conversation. Marcus suspected she felt guilty about her mother's actions. "My people are not taking this well," Marcus said. "I can see that. The Terran Federation has demanded your immediate release. They are calling Mother's actions kidnapping and slavery." Marcus turned off the news display. "What does your mother say about that?" Zarathel sat down across from him. "She believes humans are bluffing. The Zarathi Empire has 1,000 ships in our fleet. Earth has maybe 50 that could reach our space. She thinks humans are too practical to start a war they cannot win." "She does not understand humans very well," Marcus said. "No, she does not. Mother thinks logically. Start a war, lose many ships, fail to rescue one person. To her, this makes no sense. But humans do not always think logically, do they?" Marcus smiled grimly. "When someone takes our freedom, we get emotional about it. Humans have fought wars over principles before, even when we knew we might lose." Over the next few days, Marcus watched the situation get worse. The Terran Federation sent a diplomatic mission to negotiate his release. Queen Velterra met with them politely but refused to change her mind. "The claiming is legal under Zarathi law," she told the human ambassadors. "Marcus Chen entered our space voluntarily and accepted our hospitality. He is now part of the royal family and cannot be released." The human ambassadors were not impressed. "We do not recognize your right to enslave our citizens," they replied. "Release him or face the consequences." "What consequences?" the Queen asked calmly. "Will you attack our homeworld, start a war that will cost thousands of lives, all for one person?" But Queen Velterra had made a mistake. She was thinking like a Zarathi ruler, worried about practical things like ship numbers and casualty counts. She did not understand that humans saw this as something much bigger than one person. Marcus learned this when Princess Zarathel brought him another news report. The entire human fleet was moving towards Zarathi space. Not just military ships, but civilian vessels, cargo haulers, even old ships like Marcus's salvage vessel. Humans were coming from every colony and outpost. "This is crazy," Zarathel said. "They cannot win against our defenses." "They are not trying to win," Marcus explained. "They are making a statement. Humans stick together. If you trap one of us, you become the enemy of all of us." The princess looked confused. "But so many will die. Is one person's freedom worth all those lives?" Marcus thought about how to explain this. In Zarathi culture, order is most important. People serve the empire, but humans believe freedom is more important than safety. We would rather die free than live as slaves, even if those slaves live in golden cages. Queen Veltara began to realize her mistake when her own advisors started getting nervous. The approaching human fleet was not acting like a normal military force. They were not trying to hide or plan careful attacks. They were coming straight at the Zarathi homeworld, broadcasting messages about freedom and justice. "They are going to attack our planet," one advisor warned. "Even if we destroy them all, some ships will get through. People will die." The queen called Marcus to her throne room. "Your people are acting foolishly," she said. "I offered you honor and wealth. Why do they choose war instead?" "Because you do not understand what honor means to humans," Marcus replied. "Real honor cannot be given or taken. It comes from choosing to do right when doing wrong would be easier." "And what is right in this situation?" "Letting me go free. Admitting that you were wrong to claim me like property." Queen Veltara's face showed no emotion, but Marcus could see she was thinking hard. "If I release you now, I will look weak. Other species will think they can challenge Zarathi law. If you keep me, you will look like a kidnapper and a bully. The entire galaxy will hear about this." That evening, Princess Zarathel came to Marcus with important news. "I have been researching the old laws. There is one way you might win your freedom, but it is very dangerous." "Tell me," Marcus said. "The contest of minds. It is an ancient rite that allows someone to challenge royal decisions through a test of intelligence and skill. If you win, my mother must grant your request. If you lose," she paused. "If I lose, the claiming becomes permanent. You can never challenge it again." Marcus thought about this. What kind of test? The challenger and the queen each choose a problem that has no known solution. They have a set time to solve the other's problem. Whoever succeeds wins the contest. And if neither succeeds, then the queen wins automatically. The law favors the ruler. Marcus looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were coming to rescue him. Good people who might die because he had tried to help someone. He could not let that happen. "I want to invoke the contest of minds," he said. Zarathel looked worried. "Marcus, my mother has ruled for 200 years. She is incredibly intelligent. Many have challenged her over the decades. None have won." "Maybe none of them were human," Marcus said. The next morning, Marcus was brought before Queen Veltara again. The throne room was packed with nobles, advisors, and military commanders. Everyone knew the human fleet was only hours away. "I invoke the right of contest of minds," Marcus announced formally. "I challenge your decision to claim me." A gasp went through the assembled crowd. Queen Veltara showed no surprise, but Marcus could see interest in her eyes. "You understand the terms?" she asked. "If you lose, you remain here forever. The approaching human fleet will be destroyed, and this matter will be closed forever." "I understand," Marcus said. "Do you accept the challenge?" Queen Veltara smiled. "I accept. The contest will begin at sunset. You may spend the day preparing yourself." As guards led Marcus away, he could hear the nobles talking excitedly. Most seemed to think the human had just made a terrible mistake. They were probably right. But Marcus had one advantage Queen Veltara did not know about. She was expecting him to think like a Zarathi, logically, carefully, with perfect planning. She had no idea that humans were best when they had to improvise and adapt quickly. Princess Zarathel visited him one last time before the contest. "I hope you know what you are doing," she said. "So do I," Marcus replied. But sometimes hoping is all you have. Outside, the human fleet was taking positions around the Zarathi homeworld. Inside the palace, two very different minds prepared for a battle that would decide not just Marcus's fate, but the future relationship between their species. The contest was about to begin. The throne room had been transformed for the contest of minds. Two workstations faced each other across the Great Hall, each equipped with computers, displays, and research materials. Queen Veltara sat at one station looking calm and confident. Marcus sat at the other, trying not to show how nervous he felt. Hundreds of nobles filled the room to witness the contest. News cameras recorded everything for broadcast across the galaxy. Outside, human and Zarathi fleets faced each other in tense standoff, waiting for the outcome. Princess Zarathel stood beside the crystal throne, officially serving as judge. Her face showed no emotion, but Marcus could see worry in her eyes. "The rules are ancient and simple," she announced. "Each contestant will present a problem that has no known solution. They will then have 72 hours to solve the other's challenge. The first to succeed wins the contest." Queen Veltara rose from her station. "I will present my challenge first." She touched a control, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed a planet covered in red clouds and dead cities. "This is Zarath 7, a colony world in our outer territories," the queen said. 3 years ago, a plague began killing the colonists. Our best scientists have studied it, but they cannot find a cure. The plague attacks the nervous system in ways our medicine cannot understand. 50,000 people have died. 200,000 more are infected and will die within months. Marcus studied the hologram. The planet looked dead and poisoned. "What have your scientists tried?" "Everything," Queen Veltara replied. "Advanced antiviral treatments, genetic therapy, nanotechnology, even experimental surgery. Nothing works. The plague continues to spread and kill. If you can cure this disease in 72 hours, you win the contest." A murmur went through the watching nobles. Many looked satisfied. Their queen had chosen an impossible problem. If the Empire's greatest minds could not solve it in 3 years, how could one human do it in 3 days? Now it was Marcus's turn. He had thought carefully about what challenge to present. It had to be something he could actually solve, but difficult enough that the queen might fail. Finally, he had an idea. "My challenge is different," Marcus said. He activated his own display, showing a simple space station. "This is Station Alpha 7, a human research facility. 6 months ago, the crew stopped responding to communications. When a rescue ship arrived, they found all 50 crew members alive and healthy, but completely silent. The display showed security footage of the crew going about their normal duties, eating, working, sleeping, but never speaking or communicating in any way. The crew members are physically perfect," Marcus continued. "They eat, they breathe, they follow their daily routines, but they do not talk, write, or signal. They do not respond to questions or commands. They seem aware of their surroundings, but completely unable or unwilling to communicate." Queen Veltara looked intrigued. "What do human doctors think caused this?" "They have no idea. Brain scans show normal activity. Blood tests are normal. There is no disease, no injury, no chemical traces. The crew just stopped communicating one day." "Interesting," the queen murmured. "And you believe you can solve this mystery?" Marcus hoped he was right. "I have an idea, but first, I need to work on your challenge." The contest officially began. Marcus was given access to all of the Zarathi Empire's research on the plague. The amount of information was overwhelming. Detailed studies, test results, theoretical papers. Thousands of scientists had worked on this problem for years. Marcus read through the reports, but he quickly realized something important. All of the research focused on the same basic approach. The Zarathi scientists were trying to understand exactly how the plague worked, then create a precise technological solution to stop it. Every treatment was carefully designed and tested. Every theory was mathematically proven before being tried. It was excellent science, but it was also very limited science. Marcus thought about his own experience with the princess's poisoning. He had not understood the poison at all. He had just tried things that might work, based on general principles and educated guesses. On the second day, Marcus requested something that surprised everyone. Instead of more research data, he asked for samples of common household items from the colony world: cleaning supplies, food preservatives, industrial chemicals, even plant extracts. "What does he think he is doing?" one noble asked. "Playing with chemistry like a child," another replied. But Marcus was following a different kind of logic. Human medicine had developed on a world where people had to survive with limited resources. When humans could not create perfect solutions, they learned to combine simple things in creative ways. Marcus started mixing compounds that the Zarathi scientists had never considered, not because these mixtures were scientifically elegant, but because they might interfere with biological processes in unpredictable ways. Meanwhile, Queen Veltara was working on the communication problem. She approached it systematically, testing theories about brain chemistry, neural pathways, and psychological trauma. Her work was precise and methodical. On the third day, Marcus made a breakthrough. He was experimenting with a mixture of industrial cleaner and fermented plant extract when he noticed something interesting. The mixture created a chemical reaction that interfered with neural transmission in a very specific way. Most medicines were designed to help neural transmission, but this mixture partially blocked it. Marcus realized that the plague might be caused by the nervous system working too well, becoming overstimulated until it shut down to protect itself. His cure was not really a cure at all. It was a neural inhibitor that calmed down overactive brain chemistry. Instead of fighting the plague directly, it gave the body's natural defenses time to recover. Marcus tested his theory on plague samples and watched in amazement as the infected cells began to return to normal. It was not elegant science, but it worked. At the same time, Queen Veltara was close to solving the communication mystery. Her research had identified the exact brain regions affected and the chemical changes that had occurred, but she could not figure out what had caused those changes or how to reverse them. With 1 hour left in the contest, both contestants presented their solutions. Marcus went first. "The plague is not an infection," he announced. "It is an allergic reaction. Something on the planet is overstimulating the colonists' nervous systems. Their brains shut down to protect themselves. The cure is to use neural inhibitors while removing the colonists from the source of the reaction." He demonstrated his treatment on plague samples. Within minutes, the infected cells returned to normal function. The watching nobles gasped in surprise. "The source of the reaction appears to be a combination of industrial pollutants and native plants," Marcus continued. "Remove the pollutants, relocate the colonists temporarily, and they will recover." Queen Veltara looked shocked. "You solved it by not trying to cure the plague." "I solved it by treating the symptom instead of fighting the cause," Marcus said. Sometimes the simple answer is the right answer. Now it was the Queen's turn. She had developed an elegant theory about the communication problem, involving complex brain chemistry and neural pathway disruption. Her proposed solution involved advanced drugs and surgical procedures, but when she tried to present her cure, she realized the fatal flaw in her approach. Her solution was designed for Zarathi brain structure, not human brain structure. She had been so focused on the science that she had forgotten the patients were a different species. "I need more time to adapt my solution for human physiology," Queen Veltara said. "Time is up," Princess Zarathel announced. "Marcus Chen has successfully solved his challenge. Queen Veltara has not completed hers. The contest goes to the human." The throne room erupted in shocked voices. Many nobles could not believe that a simple human had defeated their brilliant queen, but the proof was there for everyone to see. Queen Veltara sat in silence for a long moment. Then she stood and walked over to Marcus. "You think differently than we do," she said quietly. "Where we see problems that require perfect solutions, you see problems that require practical solutions." "Different does not mean better or worse," Marcus replied. "Just different." The Queen nodded slowly. "I withdraw my claim on Marcus Chen. He is free to return to human space." She paused, then added, "I also propose a formal alliance between our species. We could learn much from each other." Marcus felt relief flood through him. "I would be honored to help arrange that alliance." As news of the contest spread, the human fleet began standing down. There would be no war today. Instead, There would be cooperation between two very different but equally valuable ways of thinking. Princess Zarathel approached Marcus as he prepared to leave. "Thank you," she said, "not just for saving my life, but for teaching my mother that there are other ways to solve problems." "Thank you for helping me understand your people," Marcus replied. 6 months later, Marcus found himself back on his salvage ship, but his cargo hold was full of Zarathi medical supplies, heading for the plague-affected colony. Princess Zarathel sat in the co-pilot's chair, serving as the first Zarathi ambassador to human space. "Do you ever regret not accepting my mother's offer?" she asked. "You could have been one of the most powerful people in the galaxy." Marcus looked out at the stars ahead. Power that comes from being trapped is not real power. Real power comes from choosing your own path. The princess smiled. "Very human thinking." "That is what makes it work," Marcus said. Behind them, human and Zarathi ships traveled together for the first time, carrying supplies, knowledge, and hope for a future where different kinds of thinking could solve problems that neither species could handle alone. Marcus Chayan, the simple salvage worker who had saved a princess from death, had ended up saving 2 entire civilizations from war, and he had done it by being exactly what he had always been: human.